In the last episode, you heard from Shireen Aubert, who's VP of Digital and E-commerce at Ilia Beauty, and she shared how to create entry offers to win at customer acquisition. Now, today on episode number 42, get ready because we've got Myriam Maguire, who's co-founder with her sister of Maguire Shoes. And it's a fast-growing shoe brand with both an established e-commerce presence and a growing number of stores. Now, Miriam sees retail stores as key to their e-commerce growth and a strategy. So this today is how they do it, and we're going to do a bit of a deep dive. So I'm your host, Raphael Paulin-Daigle, and I'm the founder of SplitBase. This is Minds of E-commerce. Now, this episode is brought to you by, SplitBase. At SplitBase, we help leading direct-to-consumer brands such as Dr Squatch, Hyperice, Amika, She's Wasted, Laundry Sauce, A/B test, design, build, and manage high-converting landing pages and on-site experiences. Our optimization programs pinpoints exactly where your store is losing money most, and then, we help you fix it. The result, you grow your brand, you increase your conversions, AOV, and of course, improved marketing efficiency. With our team of conversion optimization specialists and performance marketers, and even conversion-focused designers, we got your back when it comes to testing and optimization. Go to splitbase.com to request a proposal and to learn how we can help you get the most out of your marketing spend. All right, Miriam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited about this episode because, most of the time I interview brand owners that are all on e-commerce, and it's kind of rare that I have people come over that actually also have retail stores. And as you know, this podcast is all about going deep, right? Dissecting one key growth strategy so our listeners can get the most value right away. And I know that from our earlier discussions, you've had a lot of success growing your e-commerce presence through retail stores. And it's really, from our earlier conversations, you said it's 50-50, right?
Yeah.
So I want to dive a bit more about that. Did you start with e-commerce or did you start with the retail store first? Let's start with that just to give people a bit more context.
So like everyone, I started with e-commerce. So at first I wanted to hire someone to do a website for me and give them share. And then my friend at the time worked at Shopify in their early days. And he was like, just do a Shopify website. It's going to take 30 minutes and you're going to save yourself like someone having share in your business. So we did that. And what happened when you open your website is just like a few friends that buy a few things and friends of your parents, and that's pretty much it. So when a website opened, there's not much action. So we started doing Christmas market and like different like small business market. And every time we did this market, we saw more traffic on our website, and we saw like more online sale appearing. And at first, we used to Google every single person that would purchase to try to understand, do we know this person?
Amazing.
Like, are we related somehow with friends of friends? And then when we were doing this market, we realized that we were selling to people that we didn't know. And then that the brand was starting to reach a bit further. So right away, I think it was on 6 months after we started, I saw a shop inside someone else's glasses shop. So it was a rent of $1,000. And then we had 2 products at the time and 5 samples. And then we opened a shop in the glasses store, and we outgrew this shop. And this is how we started with our concept store. So quickly we saw that physical presence equal more online sales.
So and how many years ago was that? Maybe just for context.
So we started in 2017. And then we opened the first shop, I think it was early 2018. So like I think we started like mid 2017. I quit my corporate job in 2016. So I used to be a shoe designer for a big company. So I did that all pretty quickly. And then we saw that when we opened Toronto, so we opened Montreal, a small store, then a bigger store with a special concept. And then right away in 2020, we said, okay, let's open in Toronto. All the family of my partner is there. So I was like, I know people that could build a store. So we built a store in Toronto, and we were supposed to open March 2020, and it never opened for like almost a
Mm,
year because of COVID, obviously. But even though we didn't have a physical store running, we saw our online sale in the English part of Canada going up just because we had
mm.
article in like Retail Insider in local media. So when you open a retail store, you also become a local, which is really nice. So,
Super interesting.
so we really saw like the relation in between physical and online quickly.
So let's backtrack a little. So obviously you started that brand, you said in 2017 or so, and then now Maguire Shoes is a multi-million dollar brand, which is great. Congrats. But now when you're thinking, so back then, right, you're growing in e-commerce and you're looking to open a pop-up store at the time. Was the goal of the retail store to conquer the market locally, or was it to expand the e-commerce presence locally, but to get people to try the shoes and then buy online? What was the strategy, or what was the train of thought behind the synergy between the store and the e-commerce store when you first opened?
I think there's many strategies in this move. I think one of them was shoes are tricky to buy online because of
Mm,
sizing. And even within our own brand, if you're 38, sometimes you might be at 39 because the shoes make more narrow, more large. So I feel the experience of trying a pair at least one time. And when you have a reference of, let's say, one shoe that a customer purchase or try, we're able to give recommendations for other shoes because we know how they fit compared to each other. So that was like key for us. The other thing is like running a physical store in an area in a city that is trendy or where there's a lot of traffic. Right away you're speaking to the right customers, so it's a good way to get known in a community. And like before we opened in Toronto, we did 5 pop-up small pop-ups with different brands, different local brands. So we really got immersed in the local community before we opened our first store out of Montreal. So that was really powerful as well to be known
mm.
by the local community. And I would say ultimately the goal is to get more people online to subscribe to our newsletter that we can like reach out. So our newsletter actually worked really well. So when we have products that have been out of stock for a while, the store asks us, don't send the newsletter, please, because we're going to, if we don't have the stock, because sometimes
Mm.
the stock gets to the warehouse on the Monday. That's the case this week. We have a bestseller coming. The stock have been in stock in the warehouse since Monday. We could launch it, but the store like, please don't, because we're going to get full of people coming to try the product in
Yeah, and
person.
they don't yet have
So
it.
yeah, so we
So it
really
sounds like
see,
it's very important to treat almost those channels as one in a way. Even
yeah,
though they're two separate things, you really have to think through what's in the store because at the end of the day, it makes sense, right? It's the same customer. It's just two
yeah,
different experiences, but it's the same brand as well.
yeah,
So that's really interesting. Obviously, in the beginning, so there was a lot of strategies, and I'm sure you guys were also testing the waters and see what was working and what wasn't working. But now you said, I believe you're at 4 stores, correct?
yeah.
So, what is the strategy now and going forward? I know in previous episodes, for example, I don't remember the episode's number, but probably 20 episodes ago, I spoke with the founder of Cotton, who also used brick and mortar as a big strategy for growing their e-commerce presence. I believe my memory serves me correctly, they would open stores in markets they knew were already doing well. Is that the case for you guys, or are you also utilizing it more for market expansion in markets that maybe you aren't big into yet?
Yeah, I think we've done both. So we've done, let's say in Toronto, we are already had a big customer base because of the pop-up.
Mm,
So we had people waiting for us. But in the case of New York, we had a few customers, but I mean, it was nothing crazy. And to be able to open a store in the US, I had to incorporate the company in the US because I'm a Canadian business. So I had to create a new corporation. So we just decided to go for it and we choose a neighborhood. And this is when it's important to find the right neighborhood. Right now, let's say in Nolita, where we open our first US store, I feel I'm not exactly on the right side of the street. But then my side of the street, like my build up, because we just got a call last week that an important brand was to open next to us. So that could bring a lot of traffic. So that's why I always sign like 5 years lease. So that if I find the traffic is not exactly what I expected, then I can get out of it quickly and then move to a better place. I would say that's really important if you're going to a market where no one knows
Right.
you, to be on the right street at the right corner, pay a little bit more, I think
Right.
can go a long way. We move our store in Toronto from a location with less traffic to more traffic, and
Interesting.
we saw a difference. But for Brooklyn last week that we just opened, it was our second market in the US. So we realized most of our customers in New York live in Brooklyn. So
Mm,
that's why we decided to open a second location there. And now we're mixed in between, do we stay on the East Coast because our product is 4 seasons, so that would be easy
mm,
to kind of keep it in the same season? Or do we go in our third market, which is LA, but as a
mm.
completely different season? So this is
Yeah.
where we're at right now.
So it sounds like also thinking about, how your products are getting used will also impact if you're ready or not for subsequent markets.
Yep.
But I'm wondering, so you said that, and I remember because I actually lived right above your first pop-up many years ago. But
Which one?
the one in the eyewear store.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
but so you used pop-ups as a strategy. Is that still the strategy moving forward? So when you're entering new markets, new cities, do you always start with a pop-up before signing a lease, or?
Yeah, ideally that's what we do. In the case of New York, we couldn't do it because we needed to incorporate the company. We needed like
Mm,
working visa. It was a bit complicated for the paperwork. So that's why we went and just took a leap of faith and opened the first store. But for my future market in the US, I want to go and test and do pop-ups. We did one in Seattle last, I think, spring, because friends were doing a pop up there. So I wanted to test if that could be a good market. So I feel like doing pop ups for sure helps to understand what kind of product the customer like and if
mm.
it's a good match for like the products we have. Because we
Y-
don't cater to every market. I would say like
Right.
we're pretty casual, so maybe some markets are too dressy for us.
Interesting. Now, obviously, we've been saying that your stores are an integral part of your e-commerce strategy, and it's really used as a way to drive people back to e-commerce. Now, you mentioned that you guys came up with the strategy, the wardrobe system, to get more people to go from the retail store to then a owned customer, where you can extend their lifetime value, I'm guessing, by turning them into an online customer. So, can you walk us a bit more through that strategy and how you're turning physical shoppers into actual online customers as well?
Yeah, so when we were telling people we're opening stores, like we didn't have experience running stores. Like I was a shoe designer and my sister was in marketing. I never wanted to work in retail. Like back in the days, I was working in restaurants as a student job, and retail for me was like, I don't want to sell at commission. I don't want to be on my feet all day. Like it's just like I didn't like the retail experience overall. So when we got to work retail in our pop-up, we decided to change a few things that we didn't like about running a retail store. So first of all, there's no commission. So it's a group effort of our staff to help customers. So the goal of the staff is just to get customers in is as many pairs as possible, just so
Mm,
they feel the product and they don't feel pressure to buy, because that's often the case in shoe store, or you feel shy asking for another color. So that's how we came up with our wardrobe concept. So it's these big wardrobe where we put sizes from like 36 to 40, so that the average customer is in between these sizes. So we'll try different pair, different colors. So we put like 36 to 40, three different colors. So you can put your feet in different colors. You can see if it's always nice to try the size up and the size down just to make sure you're making the right
Hmm.
decision in shoes, and you don't often have the opportunity to try a lot of shoes in shoe store. So we designed these wardrobes so that people can really experience different product. And some people come in because they have a product in mind, but then they realize my narrow foot doesn't fit in this product, but there might be a better fit in another product.
Mm.
So they can try different things to find the right fit. So that was like a big thing for us, and it helps. Often customer will leave with a card with the name of the style they try and their size, so that they can purchase later if they don't need the pair right away, but they have an event in 3 months. At least they know the size to buy online.
Amazing. Now, so it sounds like you've really started integrating that strategy. So, if I kind of recap this, opening preferably pop-ups, but also in the States, just opening straight up stores as a way to get into new markets, and especially with a product like shoes, where people want to try. That's been a really key strategy to your growth. But then you're also making sure that that customer can be both a retail customer and an online customer, and that you can hopefully extend their lifetime value by having, by getting them to come back online later if they're not ready to purchase right away in stores. Um, I'm curious though. Now, the brand's been around for a couple of years. You've grown a lot. If you were to start everything all over again from an e-commerce point of view or from opening retail store point of view, what would you do differently?
I think I would get more funding from the start, maybe,
Mm,
because when we started with like very little money. And to this day, we're still like bootstrapping. So I think one of your question you asked was like, when do you know how to open a new store? All of
yeah.
that. I was talking with one of my mentor, the owner of La Vie en Rose, and he
Mm,
says like, I only open store when I have the cash for it, my own cash. So because he's generating a lot of
yeah.
money, he has like a lot of store. But in our case, because we started the business with $15,000, we
Wow.
had no choice to borrow to start stores.
Yeah.
So I would say my dream would be to get to a point where I can have my own I don't have to borrow money to open stores. Like that would be the dream situation. And we're like working towards that. But to this day, we're still borrowing to make store, and like my mentor is completely against it, but like I think it allowed us to like um carve our place in the market. I would say so. Yeah, I think like financing, I would do it differently and maybe be more surrounded by advisor
Mm.
at the beginning.
Amazing. Miriam, that was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, if people want to connect with you or want to learn more about the brand, where should they go?
I mean, for more about the brand, you can go at Maguire Shoes on all the platform. It's Maguire Shoes, Maguire like Jerry Maguire, the movie. And then to find me, I think on Instagram, I'm Myriam BM. And then you can reach me on Instagram, or on LinkedIn, I'm Myriam Belzil Maguire. So you can find me there.
Fantastic. Miriam, thank you so much for joining us. So for everyone listening, Miriam is the co-founder of Maguire Shoes, highly successful shoe brand, started in Montreal, grew to a couple $1 million, and is still growing quite a bit through a very strategic split of retail stores and e-commerce, two channels that are intertwined together to form one growth strategy. Thank you, Miriam, for joining us, and have an amazing
Thank you.
day.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.